Life over coffee. Conversations for transformation.
It is that time again. We're at a presidential election cycle. I have gone through so many of them. Admittedly, I don't remember the first one. I was born in 1959. Of course, that was 1960. It was a battle between John Kennedy and Richard Nixon. I was 1 year old at the time. They would not let me vote. I do remember the second one, but I really didn't have an opinion that amounted to much of anything other than keeping Lyndon Johnson in there since he hadn't had an entire run. He took over after the assassination of Kennedy on November the 22nd, 1963. And so it seemed like he should have a full run. It seemed unfair to replace him. I do remember the others, and I've had varying views depending on my awareness of politics and what's happening. Of course, being regenerated, going from darkness to light, those are two different worldview shaping things that obviously affect how you see all of life. November comes that time, and we're here, and we should elect the next president. That comes to the question of who you're going to elect. And it seems like there's few election cycles that have been more troubling than the last one or the last few. I think virtually every time we come around that someone says that this is the most important election in our history, it seems that way every time. So I suppose that all of them are important. I'm asking a question to you. Who are you voting for this November? Because it is an important question. The election cycles of 2016, 2020, 2024, I mean, regardless of what side you are on, I mean, the whole country is equally passionate or distraught over what might happen to us over the next few years. And it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you're some combination of stress, frustrated, passionate, hopeful, confused. I mean, pick a number. Pick your top two descriptors. I'm sure they're on my list, and you could probably add a few others who are waiting their turn to get to the top. The consensus is that the final two nominees standing were not everyone, or maybe the majority of people's preferred candidates, but here we are. Our current candidates reflect who we are. How we got here has been speculated and debated ad nauseum, though it hardly matters any longer. It would have been prudent for some to understand history better than they do. Nevertheless, we are here. We're heading toward an inevitable outcome, and apart from a stunning out-of-left-field act from God, either a socialist or Donald Trump will be our next president, and you have four possible voting options when the voting season rolls around. One, you can vote for a left-wing progressive. Two, you can vote for Donald Trump. Three, you can vote for a third-party candidate. Four, you can choose not to vote. Opinions about these options fly through the X-verse, every single second of every day, literally. This cyber phenomenon will continue even after it's over. It's our world in which we live. Some say that there is no good options. When they make a case for their no good option, they feel compelled to footnote their reasons for voting for that person that they voted because there are no good options. I understand. Making a solid biblical case for any of them is a challenge. Perhaps you can pull a couple biblical planks from their platform and say, at least they say they believe in, and then fill in the blank with the plank. Options 3 and 4 are non-committal votes. Third-party candidate or not voting at all. That places you on the sideline while leaving the decision to those who will pick between options 1 and 2, a far-left socialist or Donald Trump. I suppose if you voted for 3 or 4, you could at least say, I didn't vote for 1 or 2, so it's not my fault. I'm not sure how that could make you feel better other than pretending to have risen above those who voted for a not-so-satisfying winner, which makes you a loser like the rest of us. It's like standing on the Titanic and saying, I told you something was bad, something bad was going to happen. Well, good for you. I mean, the water's rising fast. One ironic thing about this presidential cycle is its similarity to 2008 election. Many people agreed that Obama's election had more to do with voting for an idea than voting for Obama's values. His base wanted a black president or a black person as president of the United States, and no black person had ever sniffed such a reality. Shirley Chisholm kind of got things going, but never made it. And as the election drew near and the possibilities seemed likely, the momentum was just absolutely unassailable. It was an emotional, reactional vote as much as it was anything. The pent-up black person who has had people in their family lineage legitimately oppressed for hundreds of years had the possibility of having one of their own as the leader of the United States. That likelihood would tempt any frustrated demographic to kick clarity into neutral and vote emotionally rather than think through what it means to change the freest country ever created fundamentally, which is what President Obama said that he planned to do, and he did do that, and we're living out the consequences of that statement. I mean, they're with us today. But when I talk to black people about killing preborn babies or LGBTQ plus initiatives and significant government dominance, few of them are pro any of those issues because they practically understand them. And they realize how some of those legislative overreaches will continue to oppress them. They know about slavery, and they perceive the new slave master in the form of a paternalistic government. And like the rest of humanity, black people are reasonable when you talk to them one-on-one. The instructive similarity of 2008 voting cycle with the current voting cycle is that conservatives are the emotional reactionary ones. Up until Trump, we have experienced years of unabated liberal legislation and media bias that has propelled many conservatives to react by putting forth their version of an unusual candidate as the solution for our national woes. It's 2008 all over again, but different. Donald Trump is nearly everything that conservatives are not. Nobody in their right mind would want someone like Donald Trump as their president. But here's the thing. If you pile up everything that is wrong with Donald Trump and put it beside a socialist or left-wing progressive, you experience a tension like you've never felt before. It's an anxiety that has never crossed your mind because nobody would ever come up with such a storyline as this. Donald Trump may be pandering about all the things you care about. I do not know. But the socialists and the progressives are not pandering to us. They don't like you. They don't like me, and they want to quash you, your beliefs, your life as you know it. They want to kill preborn babies from conception to and after they're born. They want to make sure that they have the right Supreme Court justices on the bench to carry out their anti-God mission, even if they have to pack the court. They despise Christians and their agendas. They oppose virtually everything that you love, and they do not equivocate on those issues. Where Donald Trump is wishy-washy, he's disingenuous, he's pandering, they are not. They are pro-gay, pro-abortion, pro-government, and anti-Christian. If you're a believer, it means they're anti-you. Left-wing supporters are perplexed as to why anyone would vote for somebody like Donald Trump. If the truth were known, most conservative camps agree with them. The reason left-wingers do not understand the problem is that they are asking the wrong question. The question is not why anyone would vote for Trump. The question is, why would anyone vote for a socialist or a left-wing radical who hates America? Trump may be a loose cannon, but the other side is not, and that's the problem. Their guns and their sight lines have a clear target. Everything, anything associated with Christian value on it. If you don't vote or vote for a third-party candidate, you'll leave the outcome to everyone else. If you vote for a left-wing radical and they win, you'll continue to support a country that is pushing for and will most certainly legislate non-Christian values. If you vote for Donald Trump, it won't be left-wing, and you won't leave the choice to everyone else. I will not tell you who to vote for this year. I have always prayed for our country, but I've never prayed the way that I do now. In the past, I prayed while believing that the human family would vote wisely. Now we're at the total mercy of God, as though we weren't before. Yeah, it has come to that. Our collective human responsibility to vote has no good options. What will you do? I recommend that you start with a short prayer. Dear God, have mercy on us. Amen. And then make your decision. These days are troubling. We understand that. But we cannot bury our heads in the sand because we are responsible to God for being salt and light in His world. Sitting with a friend and doing life over coffee with them might serve you well. Let these questions guide your conversations as you talk about and pray for our country. Number 1, are you voting this year? Why or why not? Number 2, if you do vote, who will it be? Why have you made a case for that person? 3, how do Christian values line up with your voting decision? 4, how would you describe your attitude toward this election cycle? Are your thoughts and words seasoned with grace? Is God stabilizing you more than the trouble you see? 5, what does the heat of this election cycle reveal about your relationship with God and others? 6, if you need to change anything, what is it and what is your plan to change yourself as you think about this election season I'm talking about? Number 7, how do you talk about those who do not have your views? Are you able to disagree with their opinions while respecting them as image bearers? And then finally, number 8, if you sense the need for help during these trying days, will you reach out to a friend, perhaps your local church, asking them to come alongside you for prayer and support? You're welcome to read what I just shared with you. It is on our website at lifeovercoffee.com. It's a basic question. Who are you voting for, President, this November? Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us. Learn more and get access to other resources at lifeovercoffee.com.